what we'd like to talk about is some specific massage techniques that parents can use for their swimmers at home. These techniques are designed to help improve specific movements that swimmers need in order to swim fast. Now, one of the areas that they all get tight in is in underneath behind the shoulder here. There's a lot of trigger points in these muscles, as well as just tightness right through there. So getting the arm up over the head puts the muscles on stretch, and then when you're massaging them, they loosen up better if they're in that position. And we just use any moisturising cream that you can buy. Doesn't have to be anything special. And right from the back of the triceps, halfway down the arm, right through the back of the shoulder and over the top of the shoulder blade there. Now, you only have to do a few minutes in any one session. If you do too much, it starts to become a bit of a chore instead of something that can be done regularly. And we're following the lines of the muscle and just massaging on quite firmly, finding any knots or tender spots that are in there and rubbing through them. If you can find some trigger points, like there's a very good trigger point in here on your muscle called your infraspinatus. Very important one for swimmers because it often refers pain to the front of your shoulder. But also, if you've got a trigger point in that muscle, it restricts the internal rotation, which is very important for a good strong catch. If you find these trigger points in here, you can roll around until you feel a thickening in the muscle tissues underneath your thumb, and you can just provide constant pressure. Enough pressure to make it hurt, then you hold it until that pain settles down, and the swimmer will feel like you're not pushing as hard, and often you feel the muscle just melting away. You can also specifically just work around the bottom of the shoulder blade there, through the lats. They all get very, very tight through there. There's that one in there.
It's a bit so not too bad.
Not too bad. And the lats actually extend all the way down into the back here, so your massage can come all the way down. Now, a very good technique to gain range of movement through this area as well is releasing the myofascia, or a connective tissue release. Now, what we do in this position, it's much better if you do it without cream on, because you actually have to hold on to the skin and not let the skin go. So in this position here, we grab hold of the skin and we'll get Tessa to take her arm up over her head, and then we pull it back down, all the way down. We go up and do another one, and go again. So you're trying to grab hold and take up the slack in the skin, and then stretch it all the way down. Okay, and just one more. As a parent, if you can spend 5 minutes a few times a week giving a bit of massage to your child, it'd really help them improve the range of movement where it's needed and help maintain that range of movement as well. Another area where swimmers often get quite painful and locked up is in between the shoulder blades here. So we can give some nice trigger point releases in there which help those muscles relax. Just feeling around in between the shoulder blades and the spine, finding where it's sore, and some pressure. Little knots in the muscles, and we've put enough pressure on them to make them sore, and hold it until it eases up. They should ease up, those trigger points, in about a minute or so. If it hasn't eased up in a minute, you're probably on the wrong spot, or you're pushing a bit too hard. There are other spots on the top of the shoulder as well. Find out where it hurts in there. Enough pressure to make it painful. Keep that pressure constant until it eases up. So we can find those pressure points and just press on them. Same thing, hold it until the pain eases up. An important area that's often neglected, and we often just concentrate too much on the shoulders. We also need the legs. If we get tight on the front of the legs, it affects how the hips move and puts a lot of extra pressure on the shoulder, and swimmers can't streamline properly. So can you slide right down? Okay, and lie back on this leg up. Now, not everybody has a massage table at home, but again, putting the muscle on a bit of stretch in this position helps it loosen up a lot better, and we get much greater increases of range. So bending the knee under and just massaging through those tight quadriceps in this position. Pretty tight there. Again, in a couple of minutes on each leg, okay, is often enough just to keep things chugging along. If there are specific weak areas on the swimmer, we need to spend a little bit more time on them and get them really loose. Okay, let's slide up again. Another really important spot for the hips is the tensor fasciae lata muscle, which sits right in here. If that's really overactive muscle and very tight, it really locks up those hip movements, and we can release it really effectively with some trigger point massage. So we find that the trigger point that's in there, you can roll over the muscle, you feel a thickening in there, find the spot that hurts, and we press on it, and you hold that pressure until it eases up. Good one?
Yeah.
Now these spots can be really effectively worked on by the swimmer themselves with trigger point balls, and we recommend that swimmers work on them before every training session to free up those hips. Okay, there's one other spot that is important for the flexibility around the shoulders, and that's just the top of the chest. So at the front of the shoulders there, we find these trigger points. The same thing, we just press on those trigger points, enough to make them sore. Hold that pressure on until it eases up. So there's some of the key areas that we routinely work on to help improve flexibility and maintain the flexibility in our swimmers. Getting that stuff done at home is a really advantageous and a useful thing for the parents to do to help their young swimmers, improve their times and continue with their improvement to reach the new levels of their swimming.